So if you've been studying any bit of mindset material over the last several years, you probably stumbled across the idea of meditation and that consciousness can bend our reality. If so, you probably were asking the same questions that I was asking, which is, does this really work for me? Like, can I really bend my reality and change my life by doing meditation? Second one, if so, which meditation should I be doing? There's so many different YouTube videos coming out every single day, even those faceless channels about meditations. Which one should I be doing? And the third one is, what should my routine look like? Should I do it in the morning? Should I do it in the afternoon? Should I do it at night? In this video, I'll be breaking down over 3,000 hours of meditations that I've done. And I'm talking about the CIA gateway methods. I've done the Silva method. I've done you can name it. I've done all the meditations, and I've compiled a list of what I believe is the best routine of how to implement meditation into your life so you can scale your life, scale your business, and live your dream life. And I know it because I've made literally multiple 7 figures while doing this. I'm excited to make this one for you guys today, and make sure you stay to the very end, because the meditation that you think is the most important time of the day is probably not the one you've been thinking of. So let's go ahead and start off with the morning meditation. So the first thing, and the first caveat, is you got to do it within the first 20 minutes of waking up. And yes, you're thinking, oh my God, do I just roll out of bed? Here's why we want to do it. Is because it comes down to sleep waves, right? Brain waves. So right now, you watching me, you're in something called beta brain waves. It's the most active, and the most sleep-like state is delta. That means you're passed out. So while raising, getting up in the morning and raising, your brainwaves are going from delta up into beta. And in order for that to happen, is usually about a 20-minute period. So what we want to do is we want to catch that little gap right there. It's because your meditations and the things that you're visualizing, which is the language of the subconscious mind, is easier to seep into the subconscious mind. So I highly recommend your first morning meditation, you do it right when you wake up. So I'll be honest, I brush my teeth, wash my face, and then I go ahead and do it like that, okay? Next thing, if you can, I highly recommend you get some sun with it. Your sun will just raise your mood, will just make everything so much better. I've been doing this recently, and it's been amazing. Okay, so let's get into the first meditation. So the first thing that we're gonna wanna do between all meditations, you're gonna wanna incorporate some breath work. Okay, now, before you get all excited and like, oh, dude, I wanna do breath work, let me tell you why. I talk about it a lot with my clients. Breath work, what it allows you to do is allows you to synchronize your body. And most importantly, and more advanced, which I'm not going to cover in this video, you're able to pull your consciousness out of your body and go into the void of the quantum space where the actual creation is made. Even in the CIA documents, guys, they prove that we are living in a hologram. Or in Think and Grow Rich, he called it the infinite intelligence. Bob Proctor called it law of vibration. Or in Science of Getting Rich, he called it the formless substance. Or the quantum field by Joe Dispenza. They're all talking about the same thing. We're living in some type of matrix that our consciousness interacts with this, okay? And so by doing breath work, what we're able to do is we're able to synchronize the body and make our signals more amplified. So how do we do that? I'll make a separate video on how to do breath work, but I highly recommend it. Just a quick little synopsis. You start from the lower perineum, which is your lower energy center. Take a deep breath in and focus at the top of your head. Do about 3 to 5 of those. And do this with every meditation, and it's gonna make you get synchronized. Like you probably, if you can tell the difference right there in my voice, that it will allow you to get so much deeper into your meditations. Okay, so which meditation should we be doing in the morning? Let me go ahead and clean this up for you guys. Recently, I've been doing this with the sun on my balcony, guys, and I've noticed that it's raised my my mood. Right, I was deficient in the vitamin vitamin D, I think it's called, with the sun, and I've been really enjoying it. Okay. So let's get into the first meditation. The first one that we're going to do is called a Hemisync. Okay. Hemisync, also known as binaural beats, comes from the gateway process, which was the CIA document. What they found out is that we have two parts. Well, we already know we have 2 parts of hemispheres of our brain, but by listening to certain sound waves, we actually can synchronize both of our brains, both sides of our brains, which allows us to amplify our signal. Okay. So what this looks like in an action step is you can just search Hemisync, but most importantly, you want it to be in theta. Going back to that brainwave example I was given earlier. So if going from delta sleep to beta wake, you can catch it in the middle by being in theta. Okay. So doing a Hemisync meditation, you want to do maybe about 20 minutes is just fine. You do a Hemisync meditation, and what we'll do is amplify it while you're visualizing. And what you're doing is, this is just the audio. Okay. This is just the audio that you'll be listening to, but what are you actually doing? So physically, you're listening to Hemisync, but what you're really doing is you're visualizing. Okay. Visualizing. Now, you already know how to do this. You're probably doing this already, and make sure I'm breaking this all down. So make sure you stay to the very end. Okay. So visualizing, you're putting yourself in the present tense. What exactly that it is that you want, because the subconscious mind is a spiritual part of us. So there's no time. Like God doesn't have time. Time is a linear thing that us humans use to like make sense of our world. But in reality, time is evolving and it's an endless loop. That is how spirit works, okay? So with that being said, the subconscious mind, being the spiritual aspect of us, doesn't know the difference between future, past, and present. So when you're visualizing, it's very important that you're visualizing in the present tense, because then you can convince the subconscious mind much more. Present tense, and you're making sure you're doing it in the first person, okay? A lot of mistakes people do is they see themselves doing something. Let's just say you want to be speaking on stage or something like this. They're looking at themselves speaking on stage. Where actually what you want to be doing is seeing yourself on the stage, looking out to the crowd. Make sure it's present tense. Make sure it's visualizing, okay? Another type of meditation that we can do. Let me clean this up here. Another type of meditation. And by the way, I've done all of these. And this is what my current routines look like right now, okay? And they'll change because I believe in my coaching program, I have 7 or 8 different meditations and they all serve different purposes, okay? So the next one here is called a hypnosis. This one, hypnosis. This one here, I stumbled across literally about 90 days ago and it completely changed my life in 48 hours. So I came across the Paul McKenna meditations, and within 48 hours, I had my highest income week. I brought in $85,000 in a week, followed by my highest income day the following month, and I made $30,000 in a day, breaking my record of $25,000. So hypnosis like made an immediate impact on my life. So hypnosis are typically guided, and they're about 20 to 30 minutes, depending on where you get them from. So like I said, I still to this day use the Paul McKenna ones, and it's part of my daily routine. Now, where I put these, I'll give you more examples of different times. I'll put them in different locations, but I highly recommend you add a hypnosis into your morning session, okay? You don't have to do all of these. These are just different ones that you can do, and I'll swap these out throughout the day. Next one is a gratitude meditation. Gratitude meditation is the connection between you and our God. So think of it like God being our Father, right? And what's the best way that we can give thanks to our Father? Not giving him money, not giving him your business or your children, right? It's being grateful, a grateful heart. And that's our one and only connection to God. He just wants our love and our attention. So by going and giving gratitude is one of the best meditation, and it's a good time for priming. Now notice I put gratitude in the morning. We're not going to have it in the other sessions here. It's really important to see like what we're doing here, because each of these is important where they're placed. Okay. Remember, this is after 3,000 hours of testing and proving and what actually gets results. Because at the end of the day, guys, like there's many ways to do meditation. Let's keep it 100. But I see myself as a businessman that leverages these spiritual tools to get results in business and make a lot of money, live my dream life. So I don't call myself some spiritual guru or anything like that, but I use these tools to make, the results that I want. Gratitude meditation, you can do as little as 10 minutes. And here's like a little secret note. I actually implement gratitude into every single one of my meditations. Like I don't often sit and just do a 10-minute gratitude meditation, which I highly recommend just to start so you can bring up that feeling. But really what I do now is I incorporate maybe 60 seconds of gratitude before every meditation. Okay, so I'll sit there, hand over my heart. I give gratitude for my present state. I give gratitude for the future state. So one of the best things about the gratitude is that you can form a vacuum. If I spelled that right, a vacuum. So with the gratitude, you can form a vacuum by giving gratitude to the things that are yet to come. And that's one of the biggest forms of gratitude. It's even in the Bible. We can even find some quotes for that. And so why I call it a vacuum, it's like the universe is an orderly manner. So it always works on your frequency. So the things, the situations, the thoughts, feelings, and actions and habits that you have now and the things you've manifested is a result of your frequency, known as your paradigm. Okay, it's a multitude of your habits. That's where you're operating on right now. And so by giving gratitude to something that's not yet to come, let's just say your goal is you want to get a new GT3 RS. Okay, that's a new Porsche. If you start giving gratitude to that Porsche and acting as if you have it now, not saying thank you so much for it coming to me, you actually feel like you have it now, because the universe is orderly. and you're feeling grateful for something that is not yet to come, the universe needs to fill that void because you've created a vacuum, and it will bring it to you in the most effortless possible way, right? The law of least resistance. So I always love to incorporate gratitude by creating a vacuum, by not only being present for now, but being grateful for the things that are yet to come. Okay, so gratitude. Next one we have here is a detachment. Now, this I only recommend for those of you that are going through the valley right now. Okay, for some of those most difficult times in my life, I needed to do detachment. Now, you don't always do detachment. For example, I haven't done a detachment meditation in about 4 months, but when you do need it, it's very, very important for a period of time, maybe 2 to 3 weeks, to really get this detachment into you. Now, what is the detachment meditation? It's essentially, let's just say you're working on a project, okay? Let's say you're trying to grow your YouTube channel, and you're visualizing it, right? So you put a lot of attention and attachment to your views. And if you get too attached to something, it runs away. Think about this, gentlemen. You know, like when you go talk to a nice, attractive girl and you get her phone number. And if you get too needy, you start texting her and asking her out, and she's rejecting, you just get too much, she stops responding to you, right? Because you became too needy. So by doing a detachment, it's allowed you to do that weird dance of allowing you to see and focus on what you want, but also detach from the results. The purpose of the detachment is to let go and let God. It allows God to come into your space and work, and to not allow you to get too attached to the results, but get more attached to the process. It's a very interesting dance. A lot of my clients will ask me about that. And it's like, especially when you're going through a difficult time, the views are not there, the clients are not there, the money is not there, the results that you're working on week after week, they're not there. You have to be able to detach from it. And to know when to do it is such an important part, because sometimes you're working so hard on a project, and if you don't detach from it, that's probably the thing that's holding you back. Okay, so doing the detachment one is really important. I don't recommend it for everybody. I just told you when you'd want to implement it. But if I was to write down exactly what I'm doing today, I am doing the Hemisync, and then I'm doing the hypnosis, and I typically add the gratitude for 60 seconds before every meditation. Okay, so let's get into the next one here, which is the afternoon. This one is the most slept on one. I don't care, all the business guys, all the marketers and content guys might talk something about this one, but I think this is one of the most important one. Why is this? Because this is your afternoon nap. Okay, it only needs to be about 20 minutes. Okay, and for those of you that like to take naps or something like this, it's a nice resetter. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do in the afternoon, and this is what we do. Okay, you can do it anywhere from, say, depending on when you start your day. If you start really early, let's just say you start work around 7 o'clock, maybe you could start anywhere from like 12 to maybe like 4 p.m. is kind of pushing it, but like that's the kind of time you'd want to do. And so what we're going to be doing in the afternoon is we can do the Hemisync again. Okay, and by the way, I would switch these up. Okay, so if you did Hemisync visualization in the morning, then maybe you do a different one in the afternoon. I typically don't do the same ones back to back. And the purpose with this is you actually do kind of want to fall asleep a little bit. Like even Neville Goddard talked about, sleep is the gateway to the subconscious mind, sleep way to spirit. So that's why I call it like a nap. Like I don't take naps. I'm always adding a meditation on top of it to make it work. And a quick little story to prove to you that this works was when I made my first $100,000 a month working with Bob Proctor. So at the time I had $1,000 in my bank account. I didn't know how to get clients. And what I would do is I had a lot of time on my hands because I didn't have clients. And so I would do these nap meditations, maybe two in the afternoon. And I would, at the time, listening to Hemisync. I didn't know it at the time until I studied, the CIA documents when it came to Hemisync. And I would do this for 15 minutes a day. And I made it really important, and I'll put it here as a caveat. I actually put it in red because it's that important. You want to make sure to kind of drift off to sleep. That's like the key. You want to be able to bounce in and out of consciousness. Like you don't want to just fall asleep, because then you didn't really do the work. You want to be able to have your body fall asleep, but your mind be awake. And this takes practice, okay? If you can hit that line of consciousness, you're in the perfect place of creation. And whatever you're planting, all those images with feeling that you're planting there are so much deeper. And you'll know it because you'll be like, damn, bro, I'm so deep in this right now. Like I'm deep. You're like deep in this, right? And you're just, when you know it, you just know it, because you're just in this space of just, your mind is completely awake, but you're just so relaxed, deep in it. And a lot of the times what I'll find myself doing is I actually will fall off to sleep for maybe a minute or two. I don't really know because I'm sleeping, but I'll always bounce back. And when I bounce back, I know I'm in that zone. I'm in that secret zone. And you'll know if you've heard me, if you've done this before. This is the key. Because remember, in the morning, we're doing it maybe in the sun. We're sitting up. We're not falling asleep in the morning one. We're getting the morning prepped. In this one, we actually want to kind of fall asleep a little bit and hit that zone. That's what I'm calling it, okay? That's a scientific term, right? We want to hit that zone, and this is where the Hemisync and the planting really comes into important here, okay? And so what we can do is we can do also an abundance meditation for those of you that are trying to get your money up. You want to maybe do an abundance meditation. If you're already doing well for yourself, let's say multi 6, 7 figures, you can just do the Hemisync, visualizing the same task that you want. And then we can also do, and we're also doing all of these, by the way, is like a visualization, okay? It's really important that you visualize the same task. Where a lot of mistakes people do is that they switch up too many times. The subconscious mind works with repetition of emotion and images. So you want to make sure you stick on the same thing. One little test that I did that worked the most successful, that literally blew my mind, goes back to that Bob Proctor story. I'll never forget that story, man. So what I was doing when I was visualizing that 2 times a day, the Hemisync, I'd fall asleep and wake back up in the zone, right, is I would actually visualize myself doing an action. So me being an online coach and consultant, me having appointments on my calendar means that I'm going to get sales and have clients, right? So what I would do is in my meditation, I'd visualize myself scrolling, right? Just like this, because I would open up my Google Calendar in my mind, right? I would open up my Google Calendar and I'd visualize the things that I wanted, and I'd visualize myself scrolling. I'd visualize myself scrolling like this, looking at all the calendars, appointments on my calendar. And I made an important note to put feeling behind it. And the feeling I put in this time was overwhelmed. I was so overwhelmed. And I'll show you here. This is actually my calendar there. And it actually happened. And so there's my calendar 7 days after doing this meditation, visualizing myself scrolling on my phone. And I was fully booked out for 6 months straight, made my first $100,000 in 14 days. And there's no business, marketing, or funnel or anything that I did. And it could baffle all the business guys. I literally did exactly this with the action at the time of the day, everything I'm explaining here, and it actually became real. Even with Mr. Law of Attraction, this new YouTube channel here, I did the same thing, and it literally hit 100K the first month. And I'm just like, what is this thing? And I just broke this down to see what would work the most. And for those of you, again, you can do detachment. It's really important, again, remember that you're switching this up as the different types of meditations. If you did a Hemisync in the morning with your visualization, then maybe in the afternoon you want to do detachment if you're feeling yourself getting too caught up and stuff. Okay? Now, let's get into the final. If you're still here, congratulations. You got here to one of the most important meditations. Okay? A lot of the TikTok brain people can't even sit straight, right? But I know you're here and you're locked in. This one is the most important. You would think the morning one is, right? You're getting your day started, it's your feeling. But no, remember, the subconscious mind controls 95% of our results, and that is not with our conscious mind. It's with our sleep. And Neville Goddard talked about it, and even in that CAA document, they talked about the idea of drifting off to sleep, withholding the image. Man, from science to metaphysics, everybody talked about this window to the door, because the subconscious mind doesn't sleep. So when you pass off an image with feeling off to the subconscious mind while sleeping, you're drifting and sleeping on it for 8 hours. And you wake up at a different frequency. It's like sometimes I tell my girlfriend Vanessa, don't go to sleep angry, because if you wake up, you're going to wake up angry. It's the same kind of concept. So this is really important now of what we're doing. This is the most important one. Okay. So it's really important. Do not do Hemisync during this period, going to sleep. Now, why do we not want to do Hemisync? So now, is this scientifically proven? No. This is just my personal experience of doing this for years and years. Hemisync, every time that I actually fell asleep to Hemisync, I always woke up with a massive headache. Now, I'm not a scientist, but I can kind of put 2 and 2 together. Remember, Hemisync alters your brain waves to hear a certain sound, so it synchronizes with the sound, such as theta, so you can amplify the signal. So if you're trying to sleep, your brain is actually trying to work, right? It's actually trying to go down to delta. So if you're putting on a different sound wave, and I even tried this with the delta wave, every time, at least 10 different times that I fell asleep, without fail, I woke up with a massive headache that ended up kind of ruining my morning and ruining my evening. Always woke up with a headache. So make sure during sleep when you do not do a Hemisync. So what meditations can we do? Okay, first thing that we can do here is we do something called the mental video technique. I actually just did this in that last night. Okay, with the video mental video technique, this actually is pulled from the Silva method that I did a while ago. I don't know how long ago, maybe a couple years ago. So this one here, pay attention with this one. It's a short one. You can find it. I found it on Mind Valley. Maybe you can find it on YouTube or something. That's about 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes. So what we're doing with this one is you're imagining a scene, okay, like a TV screen. And you're going to then project yourself into the screen and you're going to see the problem that you're having. So let's just say your YouTube channel is not growing or your calendar is not booked out like the way you want, all right? So, or some problem that you're having, or maybe you need an answer to a certain problem. You're going to see the problem. You're going to feel the problem. And then it's really important you pass off that problem up to source, up to God. Guys, you really have to let God into these meditations. You got to pass that off to a higher power that's bigger than you, okay? Then you replay the scene of what you would like to happen, right? You see it, you feel it. And then you pass that off to God, and then you go immediately to sleep. And I didn't put this in here, but you have to immediately, whatever meditation that I cover right here, you have to immediately go to sleep for this to work. So that means if, let's just say you have your partner with you, that means that you don't do a meditation, then you start, having some fun together, right? It's not going to work. You have to immediately go to sleep. So my girlfriend Vanessa knows that when it's time to go to sleep, I might cuddle her for a little bit, but then it's time for headphones, and I always go to sleep to my meditation. It's that important. It's the most important one. So whatever you're doing, have your fun before, but you have to hold it as you drift off to sleep, or it's not going to work. Okay, you immediately have to go to sleep. Okay, so that's the mental movie technique. And another one you can do here is you can do hypnosis. Okay, going back to the hypnosis, this is what I've been doing. There's different kind of hypnosis that you can do, and I really love the hypnosis because it allows me to get deep. I like it. It works. But here's another caveat with hypnosis is it doesn't allow you to do what I call freestyle, a freestyle meditation. Freestyle allows you to play the images that you want. Okay, so let's just say you want a Porsche GT3 RS, you want to make $100,000 a month, you want to live in Dubai, and you want to manifest a girlfriend. Okay, so that's a certain scene. So imagine you driving your GT3 RS with your girlfriend down Sheikh Zayed Road, for example. Okay, here in Dubai. If you're doing a hypnosis, because it's guided, it doesn't allow you to go out and visualize that because he's continually speaking. He's kind of taking you in a certain direction. Okay, so hypnosis is great if you want to go drift off to sleep, but I really like to implement lifestyle. So this is why I kind of switch it up a little bit. Another one that you can honestly do, I actually didn't even add it to the list here, but I'll give you an extra bonus for saying too long, is that you can do here is a quantum jump. Quantum jump has been one of the most impactful meditations when it comes to downloading information. Now, where would I put a quantum jump meditation? I'll explain what it is in a second. I would put it in the afternoon session. Now, what's a quantum jump meditation? A quantum jump meditation is when you pull your mind out of your consciousness with the breath work. All right, and it sounds hard, but guys, like I teach my clients how to do this. And by the way, if you want help on how to actually do this and implement this in your life, check first link in the description below. You can apply to hop on a call with us. I've taken 500 clients through this, and I've gotten massive testimonials and massive results. Same thing I did working with Bob Proctor. You can check that out. Or if you want these actual meditations, there's a Telegram group, also linked in the description, and I'll send you all these meditations for free right there in the Telegram group, okay? So when it comes to the quantum jump, this is where you can download information. So by doing the breath work, you pull your mind out of your consciousness, you're actually going to jump to the future version of yourself. And because spirit, remember, it's an infinite loop, that version of yourself, he's living right now in an alternate time. So you can actually download information, space, ideas from the future version of yourself, and you can get answers to problems, ideas for YouTube videos, ideas on a niche for your client that you want to work with, right? And it's one of the best ways that I use. I don't use it often. Let's just say I might use it once or twice a month to download information. And what the most important thing is, you go off to the quantum space, right, up here, and you download information, and you come back to reality here. But the most important thing is you're coming back to reality with new downloads from a higher frequency. So new ideas, new thoughts that you didn't have prior to starting the meditation. So I would integrate that into your afternoon session as a bonus, and it's one of the best things. This is what I do to this day. It's what baffles a lot of these mindset coaches, a lot of these business coaches when I hire them to help me with some infrastructure because I actually need it. And I show them what I do, and I literally say, this is what I've been doing, and it's made me consistently multiple 7 figures. Implement this into your life, and I think you'll enjoy it yourself. You'll get results. By the way, this is my story, so it works different for other people, but I think you'll enjoy it. Like I said, if you want help with this to scale your business to the next level, let's say you're a 6-figure solopreneur, want to go to that 7-figure level, it is not just about the feelings. It's also the thoughts, the programming, your habits. And if you want help with that, click first link in the description. We'll hop on a call and see if it's a good fit for you. Other than that, try these out. If you want these meditations, Telegram group. See you in the next video, guys.